Welcome into the New Orleans Saints podcast. You'll hear from players, coaches, broadcasters, and writers that cover the NFL on a daily basis. The New Orleans Saints podcast starts right now. Here's your host, Erin Summers.
Welcome into the New Orleans Saints podcast. I'm Erin Summers. Week 1 is finally here. The Saints kicked off practice Wednesday. They'll be back at it Thursday and Friday as they prepare for Game 1, the home opener against the Carolina Panthers, Sunday at 12 o'clock. And if practice on Wednesday was any indication, the Saints are going to be heading into that game pretty healthy. Linebacker Willie Gay Jr. missed practice on Monday. However, he was back at practice at Wednesday, listed with a back injury on the first injury report, and a limited participant. Cornerback Marshawn Lattimore and guard Nick Saldiveri were both limited on Wednesday's practice as well. Linebacker Jalen Ford, tight end Dallin Holker, linebacker DeMarco Jackson, and defensive tackle Colin Saunders were the only non-participants. We have a really special guest in today's podcast. Actually, we have two. Center Erik McCoy and musician, singer Jordan Davis. Davis is from Shreveport, Louisiana. He went to LSU, and he is performing at halftime of the Saints game on Sunday. He's fired up about it. Here's Erik and Jordan. It is so great to have Jordan Davis, Louisiana native, on the New Orleans Saints podcast, alongside Erik McCoy, captain again. Are you ready for that?
I'm very ready for it. I feel like last year was a learning opportunity for me, and I can just carry that into this year and be better, truthfully. It was a big learning curve. So
I know we're all ready for at least the regular season to start. First week, and we have Jordan performing at halftime in the Superdome. So I kind of feel like we need to start with Jordan's fandom here. How big of a Saints fan are you, and how did it start?
Oh, gosh. This goes back to, I was born and raised in Shreveport. So my dad was a massive Archie Manning fan. So this goes way back to the Manning days. And in Louisiana, you have no choice. You're a Saints fan. So it's pretty deep in the Davis family, the love of the New Orleans Saints.
That's awesome.
It's going to be a really fun show. And Erik, you obviously have played multiple times in the Superdome. Mm-hmm. What does Jordan need to know about being on that stage, being in the dome and performing there?
It is going to be an electric atmosphere. Not just because it's a football game, but you're a Louisiana native as well. Like you said, from Shreveport, like they're going to have it going for you. They're going to be pumped to have you there. So I expect full support and lots of yelling and screaming. And I wish my wife was there because she is a huge fan.
That's awesome.
She's not going to be there, but I wish she was. I'll be doing halftime adjustments, or I'll be out there too. But it's going to be awesome.
We can definitely get you video of it after the fact. Yeah.
I'm just glad that I don't have the size of the guys chasing after me that Erik does. So that relieves a lot of the pressures of playing in the Superdome.
There's some big boys out there. Especially on this D-line, it's some big boys.
It's going to be the Panthers, though, on Sunday. Start with a division rival. Mm-hmm. You got to get that one first. What's it going to take?
Man, I think it's going to take physicality, toughness, and discipline, and execution. Like, we have to be able to run the ball. I think that's a key. They have a really good secondary. Last year, I think they were top 5, maybe top 7 in passing yards given up per game. Yeah, so I think that, truthfully, once again, it comes back to the O-line. Like, we have to go out. We have to execute. We have to be physical. And, that's offensively. Defense has their own they have their own game plan. But offensively, we got to go out and be physical.
Jordan, as a fan, what are you looking forward to? What do you need to see?
Yeah, I think Erik's spot on. I think we've got to be able to run the football. I think Derek Carr is a great quarterback, but we can't rely on him to do it through his arm. I think defense is – I think that we're going to be able to stop the Panthers. I think it's just, controlling the football and starting, like you said, starting the season out with a huge division win. And the cool thing for me is my drummer – and my keys player are all from North Carolina. They're massive Panther fans. So it's going to be even sweeter when we win. And I see them playing in Saints black and gold. It's just going to be the best. It's going to be the best. I'm going to have it over their heads forever. So
love it. Little rivalry action. You got to love that.
Absolutely.
So have you been to a game in the Dome before?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I assume so, but
it's truly, And one of the coolest things about, touring is, being able to be in different cities, being able to be in different venues, being able to go to games. And there is nothing, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Saints homer, there is nothing like the Superdome. It is a magical place, and I've never made a opening day in the Superdome. This will be my first. So I know it's going to be 10 times what I've experienced in the past.
It is going to be a party. Yeah. Don't let the whiskey make you weak.
I see what you did. I like that.
So we do have a fan here of yours, Jordan. So you just country in general?
Yeah, I'll say a few things. Not to be too serious in this moment. Last year, me and my wife had a miscarriage right before camp. And then honestly, Your Music, the Bluebird Days album kind of got us through a hard time. Church in a Chevy, that's one of our favorite songs. It is her favorite song. It's one of our favorite songs. Just because it kind of related to what we were going through at the time. And it was truthfully the only song that my wife could listen to that involved the word God at that time. It was a hard time. And then actually around this time last year, we went and saw your show in Nashville at the outdoor amphitheater. I can't remember what it's called. And this past year we went and saw you and Luke Combs in San Antonio. So, I'm a little bit of a fan. Yeah. I'm not gonna try to figure out.
Hey man, that means the world to me. That record for me was truly a record that, is my second full-length album. And there's a lot of pressure on that one. Mainly I think because a lot of people maybe think anybody can get lucky on the first record, and the first record did really well for us. But the second one for me was special because, like you said, Eric, man, I wrote about some stuff on that album that I got pretty personal. Wrote about some things that, the challenges I face. I've got 3 little ones, and sometimes it's there's just personal topics on that I really kind of dove into, and I was pretty nervous to write that. So, man, for you to say that means the world to me, Eric. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much.
Know that the McCoy household appreciates you a lot.
Thank you.
Even if we don't know you as a person, as an artist, we appreciate you a lot.
I sure appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, Eric, you did get to welcome a baby recently.
Yes, I did.
That's all.
How great was that moment?
Man, I can't lie to you. I am so in love. I had my first daughter this past off season. She is 9 weeks old now. Her name is Rhea, and she is currently in the 99th percentile for everything. She is a big girl. She's a big girl. But it truly is the joy of my life. I get to go home every day. I get to be with her. I get to feed her. Like, even though she's just in the stage of eating and pooping and sleeping, like, it is everything that I've ever wanted and I've ever dreamed of. And I can, gosh, I really don't know what to say. Just that I'm so in love.
And I think too, what's funny is, you can't really put into words like the new dad thing. I know for me, you can expect it and you can try it and you can ask other, dads, like, man, what am I going to experience? Like, what is this going to feel like? And everybody would always say, like, oh man, I can't even explain it until you're there and you finally get to hold them. And man, it's truly one of the greatest, if not the greatest joy in life is getting the chance to be a dad.
Absolutely. The one thing that caught me by surprise is how emotional I was when she was born. Mm-hmm. Like, boo-hooing, bawling my eyes out. Like, and I'm not a super emotional person. So that's what caught me by surprise, just the first thing. And it was, I love it.
Special.
It is.
It's really cool to see both of you connect. You obviously live in very different worlds, football on the stage, but still both on a stage a lot for the world to see. How hard is it to put yourself out there and be vulnerable like that?
Yeah. I think, even going back to what I was saying with Bluebird Days, the album, it's like there were songs on there that I didn't think that would be able to connect with people. And going back to Church in the Chevy, putting your faith out there like that and the way that I relate to it, the way that I view it. I was pretty I was pretty scared to put that song out. And what's been the cool thing is hearing stories like that. People being like, "Hey, man, I never really thought of it like going to church would be just driving a truck down a road, and in that moment you feel that." But yeah, I think it's one of the coolest things that we get to do, I think, as entertainers, and I would even roll that into professional athletes. It's everybody views Erik as this big, strong, professional football player. And whenever you're able to kind of separate that wall of like, well, yeah, he is, but that's his job. He's also a dad, a husband. And I think that we kind of share a little sense of, we can kind of connect on that with us. It's like, I'm not always the guy that is touring and getting to play these amazing shows. I may do that on Saturday, and then on Sunday morning, I may have to wake up and deal with a mad daughter because I didn't make her egg. It's the reality checks that I think I get that make it really, really cool.
I don't really put myself out there.
I mean, we are here in New Orleans, and these fans, they can be kind of intense.
They are. But I think it's just like they care so much about the city and about the team.
Yeah.
That's how it is. But I'll be the first one to tell you that sometimes I struggle to separate Erik the player versus Erik the person. And even like putting myself out there. Like, this is my first time even talking about her miscarriage on a public stage. Like, sometimes it can be hard to be emotionally available, I think, and put myself on a stage where people outside of my immediate family or outside of my immediate friend group know me. I don't know, it's stuff like it's an expectation I put on myself of being the big, the strong, the tough guy.
Yeah.
Something I'm trying to break. But I'll say that it's something that I'm growing in. I think having a child is going to soften me up a lot. Because
I was going to say that little girl is definitely going to soften you up.
She's softened me up already. Yeah.
Good, man. It's the best thing. My daughter can absolutely. I mean, I'm in trouble. Whatever she wants, she gets. So it's definitely. But man, I love it. I love getting to be her dad. So it's cool.
How old is she?
She's 5.
5.
His first one, a girl too. Yeah.
It's she's starting to get to be a handful, but it's awesome.
I want to go back to you saying that your bandmates are going to be wearing Saints colors, even though they're Panthers fans, which makes sense because they are performing at our game. What's on the line? If is there a bet, a friendly wager here?
I don't think they're confident enough to make a wager. I think they are. I think they are very scared going into Sunday. So they're just going to enjoy it. As much as I say that, them, it being a division game, they're very well aware of how special a game in New Orleans is.
Yeah.
So even they're excited. They're ready. They're ready to get down there and experience it. But no, we don't have a wager yet. I need to come up with something before Sunday that I can maybe I can come up with a wager. If we win, I don't have to pay them for a year. That would be a good one.
You can convince them to do that. That's pretty impressive.
That's very impressive. Yeah. I'm not allowed to endorse gambling.
No.
But that would be impressive. I just want to make sure everybody hears that.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to doing while you're here in town?
Yeah. I mean, New Orleans has always held a really special place to me. I met my wife in New Orleans, and she's going to fly down. She's coming to the game with me. We're going to stay back Sunday night and just kind of hit some of our favorite spots Sunday evening and Monday morning before we take back to Nashville. But for me, it's just I just love that city so much. And then being such a huge Saints fan, to be able to tie this all together, the place we met, playing the halftime show at the season opener, having her there, it's going to be a special weekend.
Can we ask you where you met?
I don't want to be the one to ask you.
Yeah. So we met at, it was a wedding in Homa. but everybody was going out in New Orleans the night or the day after the wedding. So we met at Bacchanal, the little wine bar over
yeah.
in yeah. So they had like a little jazz band going. We went in there to kind of before we took everything into the quarter and started getting crazy. I was like, man, I want to show y'all this cool little spot. I had a friend of mine that lived like right down the street from Bacchanal. So he was like, hey, let's meet at Bacchanal. So we showed up there. I saw her sitting at a table with some friends, and I went over and introduced myself, and then they hung out with us for the rest of the evening. So, and then after that, here we are now, a few kiddos in and married for coming up on 8 years.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Went to a wedding, was on the hunt himself. I love it. I
That's
love
what
it.
you do. That's it. Yeah, I was a single guy at the time. I was like, well, man, maybe might meet my wife here. And sure enough, I did.
Did you ever think about playing sports, or was it always music for you?
No, I was sports crazy for golly. I mean, I really didn't pick the guitar up until I got into college. But yeah, all through high school, played football and baseball. I loved football more, but I was a better baseball player. But yeah, I played through high school. Thought about going to play baseball in college, but voted against that and went to LSU and became a average crazy LSU student. But I'm glad it went that path. I don't think my sports world would have ran as long as Eric's did.
Erik, what position do you think that Jordan was in football?
Oof.
All right. So my senior year,
metrics.
I'm about to say my senior year, I was 6'3", 184.
6'3"?
6'2.5".
Let's see. I could see a safety or an outside receiver.
And I was actually quarterback.
Oh, shoot.
Wow.
All right. Have a cannon back there?
So we ran a wing tee. So it kind of I could throw it. I could throw it pretty well. I was definitely more of an option quarterback. So we had an all-state running back. We had an all-state fullback and a couple of really good wings. So we were pretty deadly on the wing tee.
That was nice.
Athletic.
All right. Any questions you have for Erik, being a big Saints fan that you are?
Oof.
Oh gosh. I mean, I could sit here for an hour and ask about some scheme stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I did. I know Erik he's a Texas A&M guy. How many times did you whoop LSU when y'all were at A&M?
I went 1-3.
Was it really? I thought, wait, you were there, what, 2016?
15 to 18. I was a part of my last regular season game in college was the 7 overtime game.
Was it really?
It was my last regular season game in college. 7 overtimes.
That was one of the most fun football games to watch I think I've ever. And we lost.
Outside of the exhaustion, it was one of the most fun games. It was probably the most fun game I played in because the stadium, because Kyle Fields, it's another great place.
Crazy.
It's incredible environment. Crazy. Fans rushed the field. It was wild. But I am 1-3. I'll own that. My first year I didn't play. I redshirted. Then the next 2 years,
Well, y'all were whipping us. Well, I'll and not to just stay on college. Can I get another question?
Yes.
That's them all.
Man, it really feels, as a fan, it feels like there is something special in New Orleans. Like there's a change. It feels like the team is coming back to not to relive the glory days of the Drew Brees, but it feels more so like the years when Drew was there, and obviously the year we went on to win the Super Bowl. But what do you think? What is that is making the cohesion that even the fans feel that there's just something different happening in New Orleans? It feels like everybody's defense, offense, special teams last year turning a page, ending the season as strong as we did.
Yeah.
That's gotta feel like it's carrying over into this year. I mean, what do you attribute to that?
Yeah, I would say 2 things really. Number one is unity. I think every position group has meshed extremely well, even with the new guys that we brought in this year. I think across, I don't want to say enemy lines, but like offense, defense, special teams, like we all click, like we all hang out, like we hang out outside of the building, like we've all been to each other's houses. Derek had us over for a dinner at his house a couple weeks, or that was last week. So I think just the brotherhood is, I don't want to say more tight-knit than I've ever seen. I would say that we're coming together and we are very cohesive. I'll say that's one part of it. And I'll say the second part is our defense is our defense. They've been top 10 in the NFL for the past however many years you want to call it. But offensively, I think this new scheme and this new system under Coach Kubiak is something that has me really excited as a player. I feel like it plays to a lot of our advantages and a lot of our strengths as an offense with the players that we have. We have Alvin. Obviously, I think he is the best player on our offense. But then you have your guys like Olave, Shaheed, Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau. Like all of these guys can go. And I left out the quarterback. Derek Carr, of course. I'm a Derek Carr fan. I'm his number one fan. I'm just talking skill positions. Like these guys are explosive. And if you get the ball in their hands, they're going to make something go. So I'm really excited for what the first 15 plays we call it look like in this upcoming game. And I'm excited about our ability to go out and execute these plays because I love this offense and I think it's fun. And I think that it can be beneficial for every single player on this team.
Feels good, man. I'm telling you, I don't think I've been this excited for a Saints season in a long time. It just feels like there's a change in New Orleans, and I think it's going to be a great year. I'm stoked for you, man.
Same. Appreciate you, bro.
Anything from you?
Oh, geez. Let me think for a second. I knew this question was going to come, and I was thinking about it in the back of my mind, but I didn't. Can we expect the third album within what time frame can we expect that in?
Oh, yeah. We got a brand new album coming in February. I actually just left the studio yesterday cutting the last 4 songs for it. So, it's kind of one of the things in the music business where it has to be done, 3-4 months in advance before it gets released. But I've always shot to get a record out in the beginning of a year so that we can, spend the rest of the year touring the album. After Bluebird Days, I put a lot of songs on that album, and we've been touring it this entire year. Mm-hmm. But it kind of took me a while to get out of that mindset and get back into writing a new record that wasn't about, like I said, so many personal songs on there. So it took me a little while to get there. We finally wrapped it up, and we're getting close to releasing it, hopefully in February.
Nice.
A little
different. Time for 2 more?
Yeah.
You got time for 2 more?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. The first one is, I'm going to say them both because I'll forget them. What is your favorite song that you've written? And number 2, will you tour New Orleans this time around?
So I'd say the first or favorite song I've written will probably be Next Thing You Know. That one. And I would say that because I think we kind of broke some rules in that song. Most of the times you write a song, you have a verse, a chorus, verse, chorus. You repeat the chorus, give the listener something to remember. And with that one, we never repeated any chorus. We started and just wrote a 3-minute long song. And then also too, they say in music, you never want to talk about getting old or, having kids. You want to stay young and cool. We definitely wrote about that in this song, and it went on to be one of my biggest songs I put out. So
great song.
I would say that was my favorite one I've written. And yes, New Orleans is definitely on the list of places we've got to hit. If I could, I would just play New Orleans, but we gotta
have a residency at the Superdome.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay,
yes,
that's awesome.
Well, it's been awesome meeting you, having you guys be able to meet, and I hope that on Sunday you can do it before the game, actually in person, maybe.
Absolutely.
Get a picture or something going.
Absolutely.
Pre-game and then a post-game victory picture also. So
hell yeah. Come in the locker room. I can't say what I was going to say. Never mind. Hang out.
Yeah, y'all can link up offline.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Jordan, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank y'all for having me, Eric, man. So good to sit and hang with you, dude. Best of luck this year. I know it's Sunday, but stay healthy this year. And man, thank you so much for bringing so much joy to so many Saints fans out there, man. We're looking forward to watching y'all this year.
Appreciate you, bro. This is awesome.
I'm going to tell on Erik, and honestly, I hope he doesn't listen to this, but before he walked into the room, I heard him say that he was nervous. It's really cool to see players that are as big as they are. Erik McCoy is a household name here in New Orleans, be enamored by somebody else, and to hear his story about why he likes Jordan Davis and his music so much was really touching. It was really cool to see those two be able to meet. Appreciate both of them taking the time for that. We look forward to seeing them both on the field on Sunday. After practice on Wednesday, head coach Dennis Allen said the key to a Game 1 victory lies in the team's ability to make adjustments throughout the game. Last season, the Panthers, they went 2-13. They went off and hired a new head coach in Dave Canales, the former Tampa Bay offensive coordinator. Canales has done a really good job at rejuvenating quarterbacks' careers. And the number 1 overall pick 2 years ago, Bryce Young, definitely needed some help. Looks like things have been clicking for them. If you look at the preseason game they had earlier this year and the one drive that Young was able to lead, he moved the team down the field. Things look different. And there are a lot of different players on the Panthers as well. What exactly they do and how the Saints adjust to it is going to be key on Sunday.
When you get into the first game of the season, I just think it's the team that's able to adjust the best that's going to have the most success because, everybody's going to have something that you haven't seen yet. And so I think that'll be the challenge for us is finding out, what they're trying to do, how they're trying to attack us in all 3 phases, and then being able to adjust when we need to.
And there are a lot of unknowns with the Saints as well. Under new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, we're going to see a little bit more of that offense on Sunday. What's extra nice for quarterback Derek Carr is Kubiak is taking a lot of the decision-making out of his hands as they have to adjust throughout the game to what they're seeing from the Panthers defensively. Kubiak is going to let Carr know what he needs. Carr is a fan.
It's really clear to me when to do it. Like I had a question. It's a great question you asked because I had a question today going through something. I was like, hey, there's this, and this. Like, when do you want me to think this or think that? And he's like, I will tell you. Don't even worry about it. You just play. And it's freeing for me because if he wants to throw it there or he wants to take a shot or he wants to do this, like, obviously we're not just going to throw it up into triple coverage, But, like, there's times where, hey, if it's there, I want you thinking it. Hey, I don't even want you thinking it this time. He sees something, he's trying to show something or he's been working on, making something look one way to come back to that. I don't know what's going on in his head, but I'm getting there, and it'll take these game reps to learn that. But he makes it pretty easy on me that it's not like a big alert thing or anything like that. It's like, no, I'm going to be very clear so every time you touch that ball where your eyes should be, what you should be doing. There's no indecision at all. And they do a really good job of that in this system of making me free of those kind of decisions.
In general, the Saints locker room is just buzzing. They cannot wait to show the fans what they've been working on throughout training camp and actually before that, because this team has been hard at work throughout the offseason to right some of the wrongs from last year, the slow start to the season, and really pick up where they left off. Here's quarterback Derek Carr and defensive end Cam Jordan.
Yeah, we're really excited as offense, but it comes out with a great challenge. This is a defense that, really, well coached team, skilled players, talent everywhere, and so it's a tough task. But for us as an offense, we've been working really hard, and so of course we're excited to go out there and play live games and put the first one out there. Hopefully get a win, and then just keep building on it, and hopefully play good football. So there's been a lot of work that went in to make sure that hopefully we start fast. That's key to us. Trying to keep the same mindset we had towards the end of the year last year, treating all these games like do or die, from the jump, and not waiting for a back against the wall type moment to have to do that. So that's the mindset. We're excited, but again, we got to go do it. But we get to put the ball down on Sunday and finally get to play, so it'll be good.
I'm I'm like a little kid today. It's like, the hard work you put in through training camp, being away from the fam, focusing in on honing the craft. You do all that to get to game week. At the final preseason game, you're just like, get me to week 1. We're in week 1 now. So it's a good place to be in. I think we got phenomenal talent on the team. I think we have great leaders on the team. I think we have great players on this team. And all we have to do is realize our greater potential and go capitalize.
That does it for this edition of the New Orleans Saints podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back Friday as we preview the Saints and Panthers game with NFL on Fox play-by-play Chris Myers. Tune in then.
Thanks for listening to the New Orleans Saints podcast. Join us 3 times per week on NewOrleansSaints.com, the Saints mobile app, or you can download the podcast on iTunes. We'll see you next time, right here on the New Orleans Saints podcast.